What we'll do now is have a look at how you actually start to find the evidence when you're assessing an application and where you need to put it within the evidence feedback summary and outcome form. So first of all, you start by completing the information in the top. So put in your name as the assessor, put in the date that you're actually assessing the application, and the name of the applicant, which you'll find on the application form. So if we scroll down to competency 1, and just for ease of this demonstration, I've actually started to complete some of the information in here already. So I'll take you through the form and you can see exactly where I've picked that up from. So we start by the first competency, demonstrating adherence to AC standards and ethics and prevailing laws, and we find that the applicant has signed that in the declaration. So we note this as being application form statement. So we use the initials of the document so that in the future, if we need to check anything, we can see exactly where the information has been found. So that's our first piece of information there. And whilst we're on the declaration, we can see that the applicant has to sign to say that they're going to continue with their AC membership and their ongoing supervision and CPD. So we'll highlight that section there. And this is also marked as being on the application form in the statement that they will recognise ethical issues to take to supervision. And we make that assumption because they said that they're going to be in ongoing supervision. So having gone through the declaration, we'll now move on to the coach training part of the application form. And you can see here that I've already started to highlight some of the areas. So this is the coach training log, and you can see here that the applicant said that the AC Code of Ethics was supplied at requirement stage of the programme. So we're going to put that in here, coach training log, and we're going to highlight it. And what we do is highlight everything that we've taken from the application form so that we only use each piece of evidence once, and you'll appreciate that as you go through. Why we do that is so that we're very clear about the different elements of evidence and how they map against to specific coaching competencies. Then the next piece that we can pick up here is again in the meeting ethical, legal and professional guidelines, so referred to frequently in supervision and explored in ethical dilemma discussion. So again, coach training log, and we'll just highlight that, and I'll do it in a different colour just so that it separates it so you can see it more easily in the application form. And then we come on to professional boundaries and how and when to engage with others. So again, we'll highlight that here. And then still in the coach training log, we move on to the second competency. And you can see here how the explicit contracts are created. So we put that in, in establishing a contract. Then we have the stakeholders, the three-way and four-way nature of organisational contracting. So we're going to go right down to the last three competency indicators here, because they will fit into this. So competency 12, so we'll pick that colour this time. And then specific areas were covered. Again, that comes into working in partnership with the organisation, so we'll highlight that. And then we'll move back up because we have the indicator which talks about the need to establish trust, which for our purposes comes under competency 3, establishing a trust-based relationship with the client. So we'll highlight that. Then we move to clear goals and psychological contract. That can go in there under establishes contract. Ways to make some of the mutual expectations more explicit. And that again goes into competency 12, so we'll just go down to the bottom again. And that's that competency indicator found. Then the next piece of information, the own coach approach, we'll go back up to competency 2. And you can see that we've got that there. Another piece of evidence. And then the final piece of evidence that we want for this particular competency can be found here. So you can look through the whole of the coach training log and you can pick up the competencies, and you will find that they don't necessarily fall exactly in line with our competencies because each applicant will have their own interpretation. But for this particular one, staying with the coachee's agenda is emphasised across the programme. That can actually be put in there under works with the client's presented outcome. And what you do now is to continue to use that process to work through the whole of the application form, so through every element of it, cutting and pasting the information as you find it, putting it in the relevant competency indicators, and again remembering to use the supervisor report, the client reference, and any information that you might find from the coaching log. So you work all the way through the application, populating these different areas. When you get to the end, what you will do when you've got all the information, and we'll pretend for a moment that we've gathered everything in this particular area, all you do then is say, okay, we have 2 pieces of information there, 2 pieces of evidence, that's sufficient. We have evidence there, we have evidence there. That becomes a total of 3 pieces of acceptable evidence across the 3 competency indicators. So it's a pass for that particular competency, and that's how you work through the whole of the application.